Next sutra, number 48. Yah karmaphalam tyajati karmani sannyasati tato nirdvandvo bhavati. So Narad ji says that person will cross over Maya. Now he's elaborating on from that sutra, how will you cross over Maya? So he's continuing all these points. So he says, karmaphalam tyajati, who gives up attachment to the fruit of his work. In other words, he does his best, but is not attached to the results. Why? He offers the results to God. I am doing this for the pleasure of God. That is what we are instructed to do, right? We are all tiny parts of God. We are His servants. We are instructed to do everything as an offering to God. Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita very clearly, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurushva madarpanam. He says, Arjun, whatever you do, you offer it to me. So, whatever we are doing, we offer it to God. So we become detached from the results. Now, how do you know whether you are offering it to Him or to yourself? Like, I give the example, somebody is a businessman. His nature is to do business. If that person thinks, let me not do business, instead let me take sannyas. Let me become a Swamiji and let me chant Hare Krishna all day long. It will not be possible. Because he is governed by his nature. That is what Arjun wanted to do. Arjun wanted to give up fighting. He said, what is the use of this? I will just take sannyas. Sri Krishna says, Arjun, that is your nature. If you go into the jungle, there also you will become a king. So it's better you act in accordance with your nature, but dedicate the results to God. Somebody by nature is a writer. Okay, you start writing in the service of God. Somebody is a painter, you start painting in the glory of God. Somebody is an architect, you make designs of buildings dedicated to God. Somebody is a businessman, you do your business with this spirit. Then whatever I earn, I will serve God with it. So people ask me, that Swamiji, I am a businessman, what to do? I say, you dedicate the results to God. But how do we know we are dedicating to God or to ourselves? It's easy to say, I am doing my business for God. Anybody can say that? So how do you know whether you are doing it for yourself or you are doing it for God? The test that you are offering the results to Him, the test is that if the results don't work out the way you want to, you will not be disturbed. That is the test. I did this business so that I will offer $1 million to God. It did not work out. Doesn't matter. That detachment. Like we organize these programs, throughout the year. So in India, I've got 20 permanent team members, and they do a huge, out there the publicity is huge. And then sometimes it doesn't work out, then some of them become totally morose. One or two of them even start crying. When they've done this huge ayojan, arrangement, and then people don't turn up on the first day, one of my team members, he used to start crying. So that means you are not doing it for the pleasure of God, you're doing it for your pleasure. If you're doing it for the pleasure of God, then nobody turns up, you should be totally unaffected. Well, I did my best, He doesn't want it that way. Whatever He wishes, however it pleases Him. There was one girl, she heard my lectures and then she became a full-time devotee in the ashram. So the seva she used to do was, she would go out collecting from people for the projects, the charitable projects in the ashram. So she and another lady, they would go around meeting people. Now once, she was telling me her experience, that she went to 20 different people and each kept on refusing. So they became totally depressed. This is about 20 years ago when Kripaluji Maharaj, the organization was much smaller, so there was far more contact with him. So people would easily ring him up. So she rang him up. And she said, Maharajji, we've been ringing up, we've been trying for the last 20 houses, nobody is given anything. He started laughing, ha, 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 having a hearty laugh. Then she thought, if he is getting happiness, why am I getting depressed? So she said, give up the depression. Then she realized that what does the Guru want? The Guru wants that we purify ourselves. If people were giving to us and praising us and patting our backs, our hearts would not get purified. We may have got the results, but our hearts would not get purified. The hearts will be purified if they abuse us and they taunt us and they reject us. So actually the Guru's objective is being more fulfilled when 20 people are rejecting. That is why the Guru is happy. In other words, what pleases God, He alone knows. You, as His servant, are asked to do your best in His service and leave the results to Him. Whatever comes, well, that must be the will of God. So Narad ji says, karmaphalam tyajati. Become detached from the results. Now this is the famous verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Can anybody tell me? That's right. Karmanne vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. This is the most famous verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Shri Krishna says, Arjun, you have the right to do your duty, but not to the fruits of your actions. The fruits belong to God, however He wishes. Success, failure, whatever, you leave that to Him. So Narad ji says, karma phalam tyajati. Further he says, karmani sannyasati. What is this karmani here? This karmani is referring to the various social duties mentioned in the Vedas. You see, the Vedas are very complex in certain ways. It's not easy to understand. They are describing duties at different levels. For somebody who's thinking, I am the body, they have described a set of rules which is called karma, karma kand. So here it is referring to karma kand. Perform this ritual, perform that ritual, do this thing when the solar eclipse takes place and when the lunar eclipse takes place, you do this. All these different sets of rituals, this is called karma kand. So when a person moves ahead to bhakti or devotion, that karma kand loses its significance to that person. Why? Because he is directly now offering to the Supreme Lord. If you are giving your income tax to the government, it will automatically reach all the departments. You don't have to go to every department. If you are offering water at the root of the tree, it will reach all the leaves. Similarly, now he's established his connection with the root of everything, the Lord. He's saying, my job is to love the Lord and to serve Him. So he's not now, the other things are unimportant. Whether I have done the shraddh to the ancestors, whether I have released myself from the debts to these ants and the bees and all these. No, now he's serving the Lord. And every debt is automatically taken care of. So the rituals, their importance reduces with every step that we keep taking in devotion. So Narad ji is openly saying, karmani sannyasati. And when you do that, then nirdvandvo, the dualities in your mind will start fading away and you will develop a firm resolve. Sutra number 49. vedanapi sannyasati kevalamavichchsin nanuragam labhate. Narad says, vedanapi sannyasati. Reject the Vedas. Now this is very drastic. This has to be understood in the context. You see, Sri Krishna said the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunnyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. He says in the 45th verse of the second chapter, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunnyo Bhavarjuna. Arjun, the Vedas are talking about the three gunas. You rise beyond them. But when you understand in the context what Sri Krishna said and what Naradji is saying is the karma kand of the Vedas. All these rituals, the social duties, etc., you reject those. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita ends out here. Sarva dharman parityajya. Give up all dharmas. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. And Sri Ram said the same thing. Tyaga hi karma shubha shubhadayaka bhaja hi mohi sura nar muni nayaka. Now, how to understand this? This is real deep philosophy. You see, the confusion arises because dharma or religious duties in the Vedas are described at two levels. One is aparadharma or bodily dharma or bodily duties. And the other is paradharma or spiritual dharma or spiritual duties. So the Vedas realize that not everybody has the spiritual aspiration. Most people are not interested in God. Most people don't have this hunger for God. So what should they do? The Vedas say, let's tie them up in these social duties. At least you do this much. Something is better than nothing. Pitri devo bhava, matri devo bhava. Worship your father as God, worship your mother as God. So the Vedas have given a whole set of rules at the bodily level. This is called aparadharma. And then there is the spiritual rules. For that person who has realized, I am the soul, not the body. My eternal relationship is with God. The spiritual rule, the spiritual dharma is one. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktiradhokshaje. Spiritual dharma is to love and to serve God. See, Jesus Christ was asked by his followers, Father, what is the most important commandment in the law? You have given us so many instructions. What is the essence of it all? He said, the first and foremost commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy might and all thy soul. That is the spiritual dharma, which every religion is saying. The Quran Sharif is ending out here. Ma khalaqtal insawajin illale avadun. That's the last ayat of the Quran Sharif. That Allah made insan so that he does his ibadat. One who does it is insan. One who does not do it is shaitan. So the spiritual dharma is to love God. And the aparadharma, material dharma or bodily dharma, is to slowly help us control the mind, the senses, to learn to regulate ourselves, to discipline ourselves, to rise from tamogun to rajogun to sattvagun, the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, mode of goodness, and then transcend. So the bodily dharma is to help us get there. Once you are there, then that bodily dharma you can reject. Not prematurely, but in case there is a conflict. Like, for example, the bodily dharma says, do not tell a lie. If you tell a lie from the aparadharma, it is wrong, it is adharma. However, supposing God asks you to tell a lie, then what is your dharma? Supposing God asks you to tell a lie, now what is your dharma? To follow God or to follow the lower dharma? Dharma moolam hi Bhagavan. The essence of religion is God. The other dharma was to help you reach there. Ultimately, God is saying that you have to follow me. That is the ultimate dharma. Like, for example, Sri Krishna tells Yudhishthir, tell a lie. This Dronacharya, that's the only way. Tell a lie. So Yudhishthir is the avatar of Dharmaraj. He's never told a lie in his life. He's attached to apardharma, to the bodily dharma. Sri Krishna is saying, you have to be attached only to me. Even this is an attachment. If I am asking you to tell a lie, your dharma is to tell a lie. He asks Arjun, you shoot Karan in the back. Now, Arjun is a kshatriya. He says, this is not done. This is not the behavior appropriate for a warrior. Sri Krishna says, are you surrendered to me? Then your duty is to do what I say. So that is what Sri Krishna says, sarva dharman parityajya. That ultimately you have to reject all the bodily dharmas and catch the final dharma, which is surrender to God. So Narad ji is saying the same thing here. Vedanapi sannyasyati kevalamavichchsin nanuragam labhate. That you just keep your surrender, your attachment to God, and do everything as an act of service to Him. The fact is, all your activities will become all auspicious for the whole world when you are doing it out of love for God. That's a fact. Okay, the final sutra. He is now concluding. Tarati. Tarati. Lokamstarayati. Now Narad ji is challenging that person who does all this. He will cross over this material ocean. And he repeats, he will cross over this material ocean. And lokamstarayati, he will help others as well to cross. The Buddha, he had said that for somebody who has attained nirvana or enlightenment, there are two options. That person who has attained enlightenment, he has now got nothing to do. So either he does nothing at all, or he helps others attain enlightenment. So similarly, Narad ji says, such a person will cross over and he will help others also cross over. Ramakrishna Paramahans put it in his own way. He said there was a boundary wall and a garden inside. So one person put the stairs and he walked up and he saw inside, oh, such a paradise. He jumped in. The second fellow, he saw, oh, so amazing. He also jumped in. The third fellow he saw and he went back down. He started telling others, come, look what we have out there. All of you join me there. So similarly, the God-realized saints can be of two kinds. Either they just relish their own divine bliss. They are called bhajananandis. Or they help others also along the path. They are called sevanandis. Kripaluji Maharaj in his Bhakti Shatak, he's written, last year we had taken that as the theme in our retreats, the Bhakti Shatak. So in that, in 100 verses, he's explained Bhakti. And one of those verses he says, Hari Hari Jan ke karya ko कारण कछु न लखाय राधे राधे पर उपकार स्वभाव वश करत कार्य जग आय राधे राधे. He says, God and the God-realized saints, any of their works has no other reason. It has only one reason, par upakar, the welfare of humankind. So that God, realized saint, he crosses over this Maya himself and he helps others as well cross over Maya. So this Naradji has said in the 50th sutra, 50th aphorism. Now in the last aphorism, now the topic takes a turn and it comes to something much sweeter. You know, this renunciation and all may get a little boring. Swamiji is talking about renunciation. Naradji is talking about it. But now he's turned over and he's coming directly to bhakti or divine love. And he's going to describe what is the nature of this divine love, etc. So tomorrow's lecture is going to be very interesting. Shri Radha Krishna Bhagwan ki, Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj ki, Shri Narad Muni Maharaj ki.